Hi everyone, it's Lyndon Holdeman with SimplifiedWealth.com coming to you today with your second in a three-part series of your financial safety and security, which seems to be eroding before our eyes, and all of us, most of us as Americans are finding ourselves with less safety and less security, and we're freaking out and what's going on, even though this big economic bailout plan is been put upon us and costing all of us a lot of tax dollars. We're still in the last week have around $1,600 point drop in the Dow. And out of the banks today, and this is October 9th of '08, and we're talking today, midday, I'm hearing in the news that the banks are the government's looking at taking over banks, and that's probably been going on, but there's more aggressive in that area today. What the heck is going on? What are we going to do? Well, part 3 in this series, I'm going to talk to you about what you can do to get your freedom back. But this part 2, I'm going to talk about 3 points: how interest rates affect you, how the current loss of jobs affects you, that's kind of a quick one, and then how the current market, what's going on in the current housing market, and how that really affects you. And it's kind of an obvious no-brainer, but most of us still need to be reminded of how that truly affects us, right? And so first of all, higher interest rates. Well, higher interest rates mean that the cost of money is more. But what does that really mean? If your mortgage goes up, if you have a $250,000 mortgage and you're paying 6% interest, you have about a $1,498 payment just for the mortgage. Now, if that goes up by 2 points to 8%, now you're paying $1,834. If it goes up another 2 points, it's going up another big jump. And so that cuts into your money each month, into your discretionary income. Like, Lyndon, of course, we know that. But do you really get that? Because most Americans are saving how much? For the last 10 years, the average American has saved virtually nothing. And why is that? Because they're spending everything they're making just to live and to enjoy life. And so if your payment goes up, what happens to your ability to continue to pay that loan? It goes down dramatically. Pretty soon you're losing your house, which is what you see happening at a cataclysmic rate right now. So what's the second part of that? Well, unsecured loans. Where do we go for money when we can't pay our bills a lot of times? We go to the most easy form of credit, it's credit cards. Well, a lot have been written and told and talked about that, but on credit card unsecured debt, if you're just paying the minimum payment, a lot of us know you're never going to get it paid off. I mean, at 12% interest and you're paying 2% on a $10,000 loan, you're paying $200 a month, you're going to pay that off in 5 or 6 years. But if you take that same payment, your interest rate goes up and goes up and goes up, starts getting above 20% because you're financially tight or not making payments, now suddenly you're looking at 20 plus years. And you're in this cycle of just financial drudgery, and what are you going to do? So the second thing I want to talk about is how less jobs and lower consumer confidence truly affects you. Less jobs and lower consumer confidence, obviously it's not a good thing, but here's what happens. As people start to have less belief that they can make money and have strength in their financial markets, that affects all of us because it's like a domino effect. And I talked about that in the last series, so I don't want to completely just repeat it, but less jobs, lower consumer confidence, people are looking for where do they get money. If you lose your job, what do? Well, you use credit cards to live on for a while, right? What else are you going to do? You're not going to not feed your kids. Well, wait a minute, we just talked about if you credit card, you're not going to pay them off. Or what's the other option? Well, we go to savings. Wait a minute, we don't have any savings. So what are we going to do? Where are we going to go? And so what it looks like, folks, is we have literally no security, no safety, and I'm not a doom and gloomer, but I want you to understand what most Americans and what you probably are listening to this are thinking. And the third thing I want to talk about is the housing market. Now, obviously, it's going down. It looks like values are going to continue to decrease, but how does that truly affect you? See, the largest, greatest asset that most Americans have, most of their wealth is tied up in their house. So if you have a $300,000 home with a $150,000 mortgage, like a lot of us had that much equity a couple of years ago, now, if that value comes down to 200, you've lost not a third of the value of the house, you've lost 2/3 of your equity. And if it comes down to 150,000 from 300, which has happened in a lot of markets, now you're looking at no equity, no true wealth, and so that's what's eating away. And so once again, we're losing our freedom. If you lose your financial freedom, you lose your freedom in so many aspects of your life. Time to spend with your family, time to do what you want to do, time, discretionary time. What we value as Americans, we want freedom. We want safety and security and wealth and control. And that's why that's why most of our parents and forefathers moved to this country. And so, but we don't have it, right? So what are we going to do about it? Next part 3, I'm going to talk to you about how you can get control of your financial safety and security. Get control back, have control of your life, have freedom in every area of your life. Financially and so on. Financial just affects everything else. And so we're going to talk about that in the next series. Once again, Lyndon Holdeman with SimplifiedWealth.com, part 2 of our financial safety and security series. Can't wait to talk to you in part 3. We'll talk to you real soon.